So good morning, practice builders. So today is part 2 of our money mindset series. So we're going to do a couple of things, and we're sticking with our series of 7. 7 seems to be working. It's a lucky number for getting stuff done. Okay, so you've done part 1. You have walked through the money mindset questions and thoughts, and you've started to take action, right, and do the steps in the money mindset part 1. And now we're ready for part 2. So I want you to do a few things, right? First, you're going to identify your space. You're going to think about, where are you going to set up your private practice? Is this an actual location or a virtual location? Will you be running your private practice from home? Will you be renting an office or sharing an office space with someone? Will you be using a different space that's outside of your home, but still doing virtual work? I want you to think about that. Think about what it is that you need in order to run your practice and which way you feel most comfortable running your practice. Then this setup can cost anywhere from $0 to $1,500 per month, right? Like depending on the space. If you're using a space in your home, all you need is the wall behind you, right? You can cover it with a curtain if you're not happy with the colors, or you can throw some artwork or some decor up that you feel good about, which can cost very little to nothing. You may even be able to use what's already in your home, versus renting an office space where you may share costs. You may rent your own office, whatever it is that you're comfortable with and that you can afford, what's within your means and reasonably within your means. That's what you plan on, you know? So you're gonna think about those spaces. Where is the space gonna be? Is it gonna be from home? Is it gonna be somewhere else? And I want you to remember, if you're doing a virtual space, you need a HIPAA compliant platform. So you're thinking about Doxy.me, you're thinking about Theranos, you're thinking about some of the other, sites, some of the other platforms that have HIPAA compliant software. It's very important. Also, Zoom has a HIPAA compliant office space that you can use. Okay, next I want you to think about furniture, equipment, and office supplies. Now, what is this going to cost you? Again, are you using a space that you already have at home? Are you, reworking a bedroom or a basement? Are you sharing an office space? Like, all those things obviously are going to impact the cost. So I want you to think this out. Furniture, equipment, office supplies, price these out based on your workspace and what your needs are going to be. Anywhere, I'd say from $25 if you're working from home. All you'll need is a pen and a pad. You can handwrite your session appointments in your date book. It's going to be anywhere from $25 to a couple $1,000, because again, it's everything from your laptop, camera, microphone, furniture, everything, tissue, a desk, toilet paper, wastebasket, cleaning products. Now, when I started off, I started with 2 used chairs and a used desk. My costs were very low, and I wanted to keep it that way. And during the pandemic, I started with a couple, I've started a couple jobs and therapists during this pandemic. In addition to the group that I already had going, I've added many therapists, and the cost was honestly, I'd say about $95 a month in total. I added them to my note system. Their purchases were malpractice insurance and some of the advertising costs. $95 a month, and they got started. So next, I want you to price your liability insurance, right? So this is step number 3. We're looking at 1 million, 3 million, 1 million, 5 million. And so the 2 different numbers are the amount paid per occurrence versus the entire year, okay? For if you should get sued for any reason. So 1 million, 3 million, 1 million, 5 million, I want you to price out liability insurance. The cost for that, about $150 a year. There are multiple platforms that you can use for that, right? You can go to hpso.com. You can look at NASW, some of the other, larger organizations that oversee mental health counseling. Some of those also have insurance. That's a minimum cost. 150 a year is average. Again, that's annually. Next, I want you to think about your advertising accounts. So you're going to, I would say, start off with a minimum of 3 ads that you're placing online, right? So these are your monthly ongoing ads: Psychology Today, Um, what's another good one? Obviously, therapy for Black girls, therapy for Black men, um, inclusive therapists. I think that's inclusivetherapist.com. There are so many advertising platforms that you can use. Now, for about three, I would say that the cost is going to be about $75 a month, right? So set yourself up on three platforms. I would never start off with just one platform. I don't recommend that unless you want slow growth to potentially no growth, right? Get on a few different sites. Next, I want you to think about your documentation, your payment, and your scheduling systems. So you're going to put all of this in one system. Are you okay with using two different systems, three different systems? What works better for you? The cost for this can vary from anywhere from like nothing to $200 per month, depending on what you use. Average, I would say, is $60 for a system that encompasses all three. Some of those are Simple Practice, Therapy Notes, Theranest, that encompass all three, right? So those cover your documentation, payment, and scheduling systems. And if you wanted to do something that's less expensive, you can set up a Doxy.me room again for your sessions. You can have a client pay in cash. You don't have to worry about a billing system. You can use templates for notes and for your treatment planning. This way you don't have to worry about a note system. It's your option, it's your budget. Think about what you are most comfortable with and what you can afford. Remember, what you can afford. So next, I want you to think about your supervision costs. Are you joining or starting a supervision group or a peer supervision group? Are you hiring an ongoing supervisor? Or maybe you're someone with some years of experience, so you don't feel like you need that level of oversight, but you do want to have someone that you can at least consult with from time to time. So I would recommend at least having that, so that if things do come up and think, we're all consistently faced with challenges in this work. This is difficult and challenging work where we learn a lot and have to really stretch ourselves. So I would definitely invest in, at the very minimum, I would think, join a peer supervision group, or have a supervisor, someone that you can consult with on an as needed basis. So the cost of that, again, $0 to $1,000 per month. It really varies based on what you're doing. Peer supervision group will cost you nothing. A weekly supervisor can cost you, $200 a week. So it really varies. Next, now this is step 7. I want you to think about your costs, right? I want you to think about the profit that you want to earn, and I want you to think about saving a certain amount every year, right? So you're going to put away 30% of every dollar you bring in. 30% is going to cover your taxes, and it's also going to create a small nest egg for you, a slight cushion, so that if something comes up and you need to pay for something suddenly, you're going to have the costs. You're going to have the money there to be able to do that. You'll be able to cover the cost. Okay. So I want you to think those steps 1 through 7, look at what those costs are. Ask yourself, what do you want your profit to be? Think about putting away 30% every single month in an account that you're saving, that business account that you set up, or that account in your name for your sole proprietorship that you set up just for your finances for this business. You can create, that same account, have a savings account along with that, okay? 30% every month goes in there. So now you have a good sense of what this is going to cost you to do. You know the steps. Now I actually want you to sit down, write a basic business plan, okay? You have the steps that you need. Now you can go ahead. You have a lot of the information you need. Go ahead, write a brief and basic business plan, okay? And that is part 2 for our money mindset series. I will see you tomorrow.